Okay. My name is Evan Guernsey, and I'll be playing the part of a project accountant.
My name is Ethan Switzer, and I'll be playing the part of the manager of the accounts.
My name is Michelle Sheeler, and I'll be playing the part of the project manager.
My name's Riley Forwood. I'll be playing the part of the superintendent.
My name's Jake Youngworth, and I'll be the general foreman.
My name is Jacob Godbout, and I'll be playing the part as a foreman.
All right, so welcome for our final project. We wanted to take a deeper look at our leader skills topic by creating a realistic workplace situation. Our aim was to move beyond just stating the theory in a presentation and show how course content can be applied in a day-to-day decisions. And hopefully our chosen situation shows you the flows of communication in a realistic situation and an application of the concepts from throughout our course. Hey, Ethan, I wanted to bring something to your attention before your meeting with the projects team. I was reviewing our client submission yesterday on Maximo, and they denied a huge portion of our hours, about 400 to be exact. At first, I thought it might be a system error, but when I went through and I checked our daily cost reports, I realized that multiple of our field crews have been coding their words the wrong work order numbers. I know the crews are absolutely slammed right now, but from what I can tell, if we don't fix these errors now, the impact will keep snowballing. We'll have to rework dozens of timesheets, follow up with all the supervisors in the field, and it could easily delay payroll submission for next week.
Yeah, thanks, Evan. I really appreciate you bringing forward this issue. I'm painting a bit of a picture of the situation. Before I get into my thoughts, was there any other information that you've gathered so far from the reports?
Yeah, so I went through, I've gathered the specific timesheets showing the miscoded hours, and I highlighted which crews were affected as well. Before we bring this to the full group, what's the best way to bring it up so we focus on getting it solved and not blaming people? I think we definitely should focus on the 4 C's of communication within the meeting, specifically clarity, to make sure everyone understands we're not pointing fingers here, but we're trying to come up with a solution efficiently. I also kept coming back to Blake and Moulton's grid. If we approach this from only a production angle, we might risk pushing people away. But if we take a high people and production approach, we can acknowledge how overwhelmed the teams are while still emphasizing the importance of this issue. Furthermore, I think the participants of change model can help as well. Some supervisors might come into the meeting as doubters because, frankly, they're exhausted and don't want extra work. But if we clearly explain the why behind the corrections and involve them in the process, we can move people to become converts who help reinforce this change throughout the company.
Yeah, thank you for the information regarding the miscoded hours. Building off of what you said, I want to keep the message pretty simple for the projects team when I meet with them later. I want to focus on how we can lead through this issue and set a precedent for any future complications that we might face instead of simply correcting this one issue. And from what I can see, this isn't just an error with the timesheets. Like you said, crews are exhausted and supervisors are balancing a ton of different items at once, along with the already chaotic environment of the shutdown work. And with all these pressures, this is a situation where strong leadership really matters. When I think about the kind of person who needs to lead, a few traits stand out. Firstly, someone who's empathetic and can relate to the stress and pressures being put on the entire team, while also not being afraid to hold others accountable and ensure mistakes that can be corrected in the future are. Someone who embodies the 9-9 leader, originating from the Blake and Moulton leadership grid, an individual with high concern for both people and production. And another thing that's really important is communication. If we bring these issues to the attention of our crew in a tone that sounds like blame, nothing will be solved, like you said. Using the 4 C's of communication, clarity, coherence, control, and credibility will help make everyone understand this is not just about pointing fingers, but about preventing bigger problems from happening in the future.
Sounds good, boss. I agree with your thoughts on communication as well. That'll be a big focus. Let me know if there's any other information you want me to grab to help you out before the meeting. I'm always here.
Yeah, I really appreciate you bringing this to my attention, bud. It's very important we get on top of this issue quickly and are able to set a precedent moving forward throughout the rest of the shutdown work. Just another thing I want to mention, I think Michelle is definitely the right person to help lead us through this issue, as she embodies the concepts that we were discussing. She's open-minded and is able to communicate well with others. She's also able to balance being empathetic while also holding others to account, just like the 9-9 leader from the Blake and Moulton model that we discussed. Following my conversation with Michelle, I'll let you know if there's any other information I need, but I really appreciate it, man.
Okay, sweet. Thanks.
Hi, Michelle. I hope everything's going well. I just had this issue brought up to me by one of the guys. Just wanted to check in with you, and if there is anything else you require from my side, just feel free to reach out.
Yeah, no, sounds good. Thanks for bringing this issue to my attention. I'll ensure to forward this information to our company's superintendent and our general foreman. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the West Coast Drilling Oil Company meeting. To be clear on the issue, according to daily cost reports, we have noticed consistent misallocation of labor hours across different field crews for the last few weeks. As a group today, we have met to achieve the same goals, to align with a proposed solution to this problem. To get this meeting rolling, let's ensure that we keep a positive culture throughout the meeting. This will ensure that everyone feels heard and keep this meeting inclusive. We also need to ensure that we can all work together well to lead the conversation to be collaborative as well as productive, representing the participants of change framework. To start off with my ideas on this topic, I will be using the 4 C's of communication to represent my thoughts on this issue. I've already stated the issue clearly, although to be a bit more concise, the issue affects approximately 15 crews and over 300 timesheet line items, representing an estimated $500,000 in incorrect reported labor costs. This issue is preventing accurate daily cost reporting and will impact the next billing cycle's cost recovery. The root cause appears to be a lack of clarity in work order numbering provided to the field. To complete, I propose a 2-step solution. Initially, immediate correction. Project accounting can compile a master list of corrections and require only supervisors to sign off, minimizing field rework. In long-term prevention, we can implement a mandatory 15-minute daily project code review at the start of shifts. The ideal leader to take on this reformation requires a blend of high people focus and high production focus, embodying the characteristics of the 9-9 team manager from the Blake and Moulton grid. They must be able to quickly implement the 2-step solution to fix the past and prevent it in the future, to avoid delaying the billing period. And they must understand the field crews are overwhelmed and still be able to lead, demonstrating a commitment to project objectives. What do you guys think about this? I'm open to any other ideas and feedback.
Thanks, Michelle. From a superintendent's point of view, everything you've described lines up really closely with what I've been seeing day to day in the field. Over the last few weeks, the crews have been dealing with extremely tight schedules, long hours, and constant last-minute changes. When you combine that with unclear work order numbers, it honestly becomes almost inevitable that mistakes are going to happen. It's not really a matter of effort or engagement, it's the reality of how fast everything is moving. I spent some time looking into a few of the miscoded timesheets myself, and it became pretty obvious how these errors happen. A couple of the work order numbers look nearly identical, and when a foreman is trying to wrap up paperwork at the end of a 12-hour shift, it doesn't take much time. Take much for them to accidentally choose the wrong code. It's not intentional, it's just human error amplified by exhaustion and time pressure. With that in mind, I think a 2-step solution makes a lot of sense operationally. For the immediate fix, having supervisors sign off on consolidated correction list is definitely the most realistic approach. If we push this back onto individual workers, the frustration and delays would only grow, and it would slow down the crews even more. This approach respects the workload they're already carrying while still ensuring the reports get corrected properly. For the long term, I really support the idea of a daily project code review. Something as simple as giving foremen 10 to 15 minutes before the shift starts to go over the correct codes for that day would make a huge impact. It sets expectations clearly at the beginning of the day, and it prevents a lot of the confusion we're dealing with now. It also creates consistency, which is something the field really benefits from, especially during a shutdown. From a leadership perspective, this also ties directly into the participant change concept, which we want. If we want this new process to stick, the people actually doing the work need clarity, repetition, and a sense of support rather than feeling blindsided by another procedure. By rolling it out gradually, explaining why it matters, and giving foremen a chance to ask questions or raise concerns, we reduce resistance and increase the likelihood that this becomes part of the normal routine. In terms of my own role, I'm fully prepared to take point on implementing this in the field. I'll meet with the general foreman, walk through the plan in detail, and make sure he's comfortable passing it down to all the foremen. If they run into challenges, whether that's time constraints, confusion around codes, or anything else, I'll gather that feedback and bring it back to this group so we can adjust the process quickly instead of letting problems pile up. Overall, I think this approach addresses the immediate issue without overwhelming the crews, and it sets us up for improved accuracy and communication going forward. With clear expectations, consistent messaging, and support for the people doing the work, I'm confident we can stabilize this process and prevent similar problems in the future. And with that, I'll hand things over to Jake, our general foreman. Since he's the one working directly between my role and foreman day to day, he can share what he's been seeing on the ground and how this solution would play out in his perspective.
All right. Well, thanks for the information, Riley and Michelle. And yeah, I would agree with what you said at the beginning that, yeah, the last few weeks have been very tough and very long for all of us. And I think that we can all agree on that. And on the ground, I can see how sometimes things might be rushed during the day-to-day to get these timesheets in place. I'm glad we are getting in some good communication about this. Using the 4 Cs definitely brings a positive and clear way when we bring this item aboard. I'd have to run this by Jacob, but I don't see a world where giving the guys an extra 15 minutes to work on their inputs would be a negative. Like, it may slow us down during the day, but the positives it would bring would undo those negatives. Also, the two-step program sounds perfect. To also add a double check-in scenario, since it'll still be a factor. I would also like to communicate within those 10 to 15 minutes with Jacob so we can have clarity over what is going on a week-to-week basis. I think this would help us, this issue, and make it so we don't have this problem in the future. So yeah, I will let Jacob, the foreman, know this is what I've heard from the top, and this is what we're going to be implementing. So thanks.
Sounds great. Thanks everyone for coming to the meeting. I hope we can implement this.
Hey, Jacob, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I'm good, man. So corporate has heard some of our concerns, and I've just been informed from the project manager and superintendent about implementing a 10 to 15 minute period for the foreman to start the day so they have time to go over the correct codes and make sure everything is on track. What do you think about this?
That sounds great. I feel like as a foreman, I'm presently against dedicating more time to timesheets, because completing timesheets at the very end of the day or rushing to complete them before I head to site is not feasible. And when we're trying to get moving quickly, details can get missed, such as job numbers, start times, end times, or descriptions of work being completed. These small errors might not seem like much in the moment, but they add up. They affect payroll, budgeting, job costing, and even how we plan in the future. I was a defector prior to this change. Now I am a convert and am willing to dedicate more time to filling out timesheets. Adopting this new 10 to 15 minutes each day dedicated solely to filling out our timesheets accurately will ease my stress in completing the timesheets quickly and will in return provide more accuracy for our payroll team. This investment will be a benefit in the long run as well, as it will save us from having to rework timesheet schedules in the future and provide us more accurate data for bidding future work. 10 to 15 minutes may not sound like a lot in a busy day, but in reality, it's one of the most valuable investments we can make. A quarter of an hour focused attention prevents hours of corrections, confusion, and administrative cleanup later on. Here's how this small investment could benefit our team. Slowing down and double checking our entries will reduce the number of mistakes. That means fewer corrections later on, fewer phone calls later asking for clarifications, and fewer delays for the payroll and admin team. Accurate timesheets gives the company a clearer picture of the work being done, and that accuracy starts with me. Our company relies on timesheets to understand how long tasks actually take. When the data is accurate, the company can bid for future jobs more competitively. And having accurate data to relate to the allocation of manpower more effectively and schedule work more realistically. That benefits every crew, every foreman, and every department. When timesheets are rushed, the errors come back later, sometimes days and sometimes weeks, and it's harder to remember the details. Having the dedicated 10 to 15 minutes will allow me to fill timesheets out properly the first time, which means less back and forth, fewer corrections, and a smoother process for everyone involved. This is a small change, but it is the potential to create a major improvement across the entire company. By giving ourselves this time, we're not just filling out a form, we're improving accuracy, supporting better decision-making, foundation of the work we all do. I'm completely on board with this change, and I look forward to seeing it in action. And thank you for proposing such a clear solution to my problem.
Yeah, well,
I gotta get back to site now, so thank you, Jake.
Oh, no worries, man. Well, I'm glad that you feel very positive about these changes, and I will relay this positive message back to our fearless and empathetic leader.
Perfect, thank you.
Hi, Michelle. Our foreman, Jacob, is on board with these changes and feels very positive and heard about them.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for going over that with him. I'll ensure that this is inputted and we can monitor the situation as it goes along.
Sounds good.
Thank you for listening to our presentation. Just for a little bit of background context, everyone who had their mics on was in a meeting with each other, and everyone who had their mics off was not in the meeting. But anyways, thank you again for listening to our project.